What's up, everybody? Welcome to an all-new episode of Toy Addicts Anonymous. I am Toy Addict, and here is my buddy Carlos, aka the Badass Reviews.
What's
And
up,
today
guys?
we're really excited because we have a guest that is literally starting his day. It's 8 a.m. where he's at. Guys, let's welcome Ace from Ramen Toys. What's going on, Ace?
Thanks, Jorge. Thanks, Carlos, for having me on. Yeah, it's good. In the morning of Friday, 1st of September here.
Awesome, man. So
That's crazy.
it's crazy. You're starting the day, and we're winding down the day. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a great time to talk Ramen Toys. So
Yeah, thank you.
It's
right off
always
the
a
bat,
good time to talk ramen toy.
yeah, man, I'm really I love a cup of ramen right now. I'm going through a cold, so my wife and I, every time we have a cold, we're like, oh, it's a perfect excuse to go get ramen. We just
All right.
absolutely love ramen, the bone broth, or my favorite is short rib. And the other day I had the black garlic. It was just, I don't know what it is. It just, when you drink that, you have a nice bowl of ramen. After that, you feel so replenished. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Uh, it's kind of like it's like soup for the soul kind of thing. I don't know.
Mm.
I
Wow.
love it, man. But so we met for the first time, and it was awesome because it was your first time here in the United States at
Well,
PowerCon
not the first time in the States, but the first time in Ohio.
in Ohio.
Ohio.
Okay,
Yeah.
or like at a convention. No, have you been to?
Well, I've been to SDCC twice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was your first PowerCon.
Yes. Yes.
Got it. Yeah, so it was really cool, to meet in person. We got to see all the awesome projects that you guys are working on
Mm-hmm.
up close and personal, including the Marshall, the Aces of Aviation, um, and those really cool gray prototypes.
Those
Yeah.
guys over there.
Those dudes back there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
So it was really exciting to see that. I remember Carlos, he was like, dude, Ramen Toys has like Skeletor and and Mr. Man or Power Man. I was like, dude,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Went over there, saw the prototypes, and we're just blown away. I mean, those figures look amazing. I just received my pet cat here. I got the 1/6 scale
Okay.
battle cat from Mondo. This thing is
Nice.
massive, dude. So I know you're a big He-Man fan, but you don't do the 1/6 stuff. You do more like you
Yeah.
stick to the 6-inch scale, 7-inch.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, we're really excited for all the stuff that's coming out. I know recently you had um, a stream with Mad Hatter and revealed that you were working on the Turtle Sewer Lair playset, and that looks really impressive. Um, is that something that you're still kind of figuring out if you're going to do it? Is it official, or talk to us about that?
Well, first of all, it is not the turtle playset. It is the Musk. It's a modular underground sewer command center. So it
Okay.
is a go ahead because we are serious about it. We are, the fans has spoken, so to speak, with the comments and the shares and the likes. We have the affirmation that what we're doing is not like crickets. Sometimes you have something you put up, for example, and then there's like crickets. There's no comments. There's no shares. But this one is different. This one is along the lines of the Ramen Racer, along the lines of Marshall, even the two prototypes that you saw. We can see it, right? You guys can see it. You guys can go to our website, our Facebook, and it's public domain, right? You have the number of shares. It's like, I think, in the region of 30 something shares now, which is for us, well, it might not be a lot, right? 30 something shares, but it indicates that it is above average, right? For the Marshall, we have about, at most times, 100 shares. Okay, and for the two prototypes, we had like 70 something shares. So something that early in the phase, having 30 something shares is an indication that it is good. If it's like 10 shares, less than 10, then it's not something that is pretty hot. So yeah, we are definitely going ahead with this project. We are finalizing the sculpts on this project, and we're working very steadfastly to get a finalized version to show as soon as possible. And estimating that by next week I'll have the final 3Ds to share with everybody, even perhaps some colored renders. And all these renders would be quickly transformed or progressed into actual working prototypes, just like we had with the ramen racer. We moved quickly from affirming on what the 3D is going to be to actually getting something out in prototype form, painted, and as we always do, we showcase the steps towards getting it done. With the ramen racer, we actually showed you guys the 3D printed version of the actual car. We showed how the figures would fit in even before it got painted. And then finally, right, we took some videos and pictures and then assembled a simple video together to showcase all the functions. And we did a pre-sale launch stream to showcase the actual thing in front of the camera. And then you guys can see exactly what's going on. And that's exactly what we'll be doing with the mask as well, right? Um,
Derek
I will
Tadeo,
be
when will the pre-order most likely be up?
Oh, yeah. So as I was saying, by mid-September, I aim to have the working prototype before me, and of course, I'll need some time to take some pictures, assemble a video together where I'll showcase how it actually is modular. Which parts are part of a set that we will comprise for sale, which parts can be sold separately, you can purchase it separately, so you don't actually have to have the whole set that big, 25 inches by 15 inches deep by 13 inches tall. You don't have to have the whole thing if you don't want to, right? The whole idea is that it's modular. You can actually have smaller size sets if you want, but of course the main thing is to have the whole deluxe version. So we are finalizing how sales is going to be, whether how we're going to be separating certain segments that you can sort of like, it's almost like we got to list out now what are the SKUs, right? The pipes, the walls, the floors, and even in the floors, do we separate it into like four parts and then you buy like ABC. So all these things will be my homework and the team's homework to get it done and put it on the website. And then we have, the idea is that we're going to have different parts for sale. We're going to have a deluxe set for sale, so that for those that want the whole thing, you can go and just buy the whole deluxe set,
Like an all-in,
and
yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Okay. We have a
Well,
question.
Chuck says, I am assuming there will be another pre-sale soon for Great White for U.S. customers.
Yes. So what happened is that at PowerCon, the whole idea was to create the activity, right? What's a convention without some transactions? So we created a special QR code that linked to the website via a hidden link. And then in that link, you'll be able to actually purchase the stuff on display, such as the Marshall, the Ace of Aviation, Great White Gullwing, Commanders, etc. So that link was taken down because it's only meant for the US. Reason being that we had just not the whole item itself was not able to select the country. So it's like a expedited, like a fast pass, right? If you buy from that link, automatically we're shipping to the US. It's like that. So because we are an international outfit, we are able to we want to ship and sell to international, but that link will not work if you were to be from Australia or Japan or UK and you went to that link. Then it would not be correct because we have not calculated the shipping cost to those countries, right?
Okay.
So coming back from PowerCon, the team had to have the time to actually go into the back end and key in manually all these countries and the prices. For those of you who are not too familiar with all these IT things, which I'm not too as well, it's actually not as simple as we may think, that it's just a case of putting in the weight and then you have the price. No, there's actually manual keying in of data, because again I don't know. We're not going to go into all these IT stuff, but there is a system behind it. There are dedicated database and values that going to get you the correct shipping costs for the country.
Right.
So we had to do all these things back end, and it takes some time. We had gone through the time to put this up, and then the Marshall was up recently, and then now we're working on getting the Gull Wing and the Great White up on the website as well. So before too long, it should be available for all customers to purchase, including US ones as well. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, Scott, there you got your answer.
We have a question here. Like,
No, he's saying Ramen Toys is gonna make the best sewer ever.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, because remember we were talking like yesterday, right? We were talking yesterday, and you showed me the actual like pictures where I post on my Instagram, and I share the pictures on the G.I. Joe pages.
Mhm.
And I had like a great reaction from the Joe's fans. I just want to make that like clear, because I was telling everybody, like, listen, you can use this for your Joes also, because like
Whatever.
it's really it's in reality it's gonna fit for both scales, like 7 inches and 6 inches, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the size differential is not that far apart between 110 and 112.
Mm-hmm.
And there are also in real life certain segments of the underground where it's a little bit more constrained, and some parts there's a little bit more open space. So I think it's fine.
Okay, perfect. Because people were really excited, especially in the Yo's. I was like, listen, guys, this is perfect for Tunnel Rat and all those like characters. Like, you can take a lot of pictures, because a lot of like photographers, like I was also in some like photography groups, and people were excited about the whole idea of having this sewer command, because it's really good for photography also, and also for display. Now, my question is, we were talking about, we have a question, right? What was the question?
No, it was just a comment. Scott
Okay.
says, thanks, can't wait. Love the going and really appreciate what you're doing with Machina.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So I got a question for you, like about the actual set. We talked like a day ago about you were making a decision about putting like kind of like a roof that is gonna be like the street, or
Mhm.
you're gonna make it open and you're gonna put accessories. Like, where is Ramen Toys on that aspect of the diorama?
Yeah, as I posted in the Facebook and Instagram that these are not the final parts.
Exactly.
There is going to be another level. Again, I'm waiting on our sculptor Julian Cabada from Argentina to come up with the final 3D. And Julian has done a great job thus far, and has always been, since the 80s Commanders. So yeah, kudos to Julian, right? A great talent from Argentina, who is actually working on this mask sculpting, and I will share his work with everybody as soon as he delivers it to me in the weekend, to showcase the top section, which is basically the street section. Again, we call it the SAS, the street alley scene, and we'll have the whole thing combined together, and then you will be able to see it very soon.
People were talking about, like, if you make the street, you can put like a manhole where the figures can go down to the sewer and everything. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. But
they have like construction people, like do like
I know
people like doing a cool scene. Like you have superheroes fighting, and there's a construction, or like when the guys are working in the sewers, like in New York and stuff, you could have like the thing they put around the sewer where they're working. So there's a lot of cool toy photography potential with those dioramas.
And just for display.
So we have I'm not sure, Carlos and Jorge, are you guys aware of a stand that I did propose back in the day. Do
Uh,
you guys are you guys aware of this stand?
you're talking about like the bookshelf type of stand?
I did a sewer environment and street alley stand. Any impression or
I saw it. It looked really cool.
yeah, you saw it, right? Okay, so that will probably explain. Let me see if I can pull it out on my thing here. So if you see that, then you will know that what you mentioned about the street having the manhole, we already had that idea in mind. Just that the whole thing was not executed because because there wasn't enough demand for that particular rendition. So
People are
let
showing
me.
up there. Who's talking there, Jorge?
Oh yeah, a lot of activity. So Emerald Knight saying what's up.
What's
Ramen
up,
coming out
John?
with
How's everything? Emerald Knight, right there.
break something. We got Pablo Gonzalez,
What's up, Pablo from Panama?
J Mac. A lot of fun stuff in the pipeline. Look forward to it.
Yeah, if I can just share my screen, you'll see. So you can
Okay,
see that there's a manhole. See,
correct.
so this is a stand that we did the alley environment where there's a manhole and it opens up. Although this one is not a true
No
hole
open.
because it's a stand. Now that we
Mhm.
have the mask in place, we can actually expand this to be true to the ground, right? Because we have the whole setup, and
Correct.
you can see over there. That was
Correct.
the initial. That was the initial presentation that we did, and that got
Mhm.
us a cease and desist for the stand.
Okay.
Yeah, Paramount actually sent us a cease and desist for this stand because we showed. We showed this
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
So
nice. That's just the head.
yeah. This is it. We just use a Super 7 figure to illustrate what the stand can be used for. But essentially, we're selling this stand. We're not selling a Ninja Turtle, right?
Yeah, of
So
course.
it's kind of strange that the executives at Paramount decide to send us a cease and desist for this stand, which is kind of silly in my opinion, right?
Cool.
I
And
mean,
uh, and this is the environment that we did with the sewer.
I saw
Again,
that
we are
one.
now expanding all these initial works into this mask. So it's not something that we have not done before. We have done it before. We have tried to propose the idea. It's just that this thing failed. There was no demand for it, and then I guess it's a blessing in disguise, right? In hindsight, it's 2020.
Yeah.
It's good that this thing did not take off because had we tooled this thing, then it will probably confuse the market, so to speak. Or rather, now with mask, how are we going to sell this? Because nobody wants this anymore, right? People want to get
Correct.
the whole thing. So I think it's a blessing in disguise that this did not take off, and now that we can actually put all these elements into our modular underground sewer command, then I think it's a win-win for us.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
I think the name is genius, dude. And you know what, Ace, I want to tell you something. When you get the attention of the higher ups, when people send the cease and desist, I think that's a sign that you're in the right direction, man. You're doing something good because you're getting people's attention. The awareness is out there. So I think that's a good sign, man.
We'll take it in all the positives, right? From what I understand, in the states, the cease and desist is just a formality, because if somebody makes a complaint about infringing a copyright, then you have to, as the copyright owner, you have to exercise the legal proceedings to start the
Correct.
cease and desist.
Correct.
Otherwise, if you don't do it, that means it's free for all. It's fair game, right? So they have to do all these things just to go through the motions. I believe that's what I was told. Again, you know, yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to challenge anything. And I believe that all these things are a good form of communication between the holders of the rights and people like myself who wants to do something and then we can strike an agreement. We can strike a negotiation, a conversation, a dialogue, whatever you call it. But the whole idea is that there's a room to talk, because I'm not hiding in the shadows that you can't know who I am. I mean, I'm here. You are probably in the shadows because I'm not having any direct links to the licensor. So yeah, I mean, we're all for speaking. We're all for trying to work things out, and that's it. That's the whole idea.
Yeah, exactly. You're not anonymous. You're not hiding. So I mean, you're trying to do these things the legit way. So you're just doing all the right things. It's just you're someone else, and we're right now in a toy renaissance where things that big companies are not producing, you got little guys out there that are doing the stuff. You know what I mean? So it's just the time to create and do what everybody wants. And the most important thing is for a reasonable price. So I had skipped this question from Derek Tadeo. He asked, "Are you planning to offer installment payment plans for international customers sometime soon?"
This one I'll have to check with my team who handles the website and handles the payment gateways. So I will probably now screen capture this for my guys so that they can work on it, because
Yeah, that would be
I'm
great.
not I don't really have the knowledge on all these things. I'm not investigated into all these stuff. But yeah, Derek, we will look at the payment gateways and see what can be done. Yeah.
All right. And Break
So
Something says, "It's ridiculous that this got a C and D, but truly it ain't the executives who sent it, just an overzealous legal division doing blanket protection work."
No idea. No idea, Brick.
Rick knows a lot of legal stuff, but these stands are awesome and would have been well received. Now, though, you're right. People want the bigger dial. Yep.
Yep.
I think
So I
it's
always
right
believe
now. It's
that
go big or
everything.
go home season. Right? Everything is huge. Cats are huge. You got like that giant Galactus from Hasbro. You got the Ghost from Star Wars. Everything is like just humongous. Like now,
Yeah.
there's no limit in space. I think a lot has changed from an era where we had to rely on brick and mortar to get stuff that we wanted, and it was basically like if the item wouldn't fit on the shelves in the aisles, or the retailer didn't want to carry it, it just didn't get made. But now, we've got crowdfunding, we've got Kickstarter, we've got guys like you doing stuff that are like dream and grill projects that people didn't think they could own before. So that's
Mhm.
it's just really an awesome time overall to be a toy collector.
Yeah, definitely agreed. I agree with you.
I got a question for you. Like I saw when I was at PowerCon and that caught my attention, and I know you have them in pre-order right now. Can you talk us a little more about the aviators?
Oh yeah, in fact, it's good that you mentioned that, because we're trying to actually push more sales of the Ace of Aviation.
Okay.
So currently, the sales are a little bit sluggish in relation to other products. So we hope that in this live stream we can get people excited about the Aces. Maybe I can just pull up my website or something, and I'll just show the. Hold on, let me just pull it out.
Because those figures looks incredible. I saw them in person and
Yeah, they're
they look
super detailed.
fantastic, dude. They look fantastic, especially now that the 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 dragonfly is coming, dude. Imagine that your dragonfly with those figures on it.
Okay,
That
Yeah.
that will be sick.
hold on. Let me just share the screen. There we go. Yeah, if you can just put that up. Okay, so the Ace of Aviation. What happened is that we are trying to get folks to. I think this is a sleeper product. All right. At the moment, we are not able to show lots of poses with the G suit because simply the prototype does not allow it. The prototype is a recasted version of a soft material, but it's not soft enough in the like what we're gonna do for the actual one. So for those who are familiar with some Mayfex or SHF figures,
Mhm.
you will notice that all these Japanese companies, they do use sometimes a soft material for the to represent the outfits of the character versus a solid piece. So that's exactly the same concept we're going to be using for the G suit. It's soft, and it can bend when the legs, the knees are bent. But unfortunately, I can't show it, as I mentioned before, with the prototype, because the prototype's material is not the same material as the injected soft PVC that we'll be using. So I think a lot of the features are not visible to the collectors who just look at the standing prototype. So I think this is going to be a sleeper in the sense that once they get hold of it, collectors that get hold of it and start showcasing it on their uh,
Toy photography.
media,
Yeah.
social medias, and all these things. Sorry, that you actually see how wonderful these characters are. And then it could be another case of, after the Gullwing is out, people are asking for us to get the Gullwing when we're sold out. Because again, all these things will actually make to order. We don't, or rather, we will try to reach the MOQ, which is 1,000 sets, 1,000 pieces.
Mhm.
And right now we are maybe like 30% in, and most likely we'll do it at the minimum quantity order, which is 1,000. So what we're trying to say is that I'm not trying to say that we won't do it. We will do it. Like I said, all these things are all pre-orders. It's not a crowdfund. We are doing it all in any case. It's just a case of us doing to what number. So if the orders that we see is not gonna be over, we will just do the minimum, right?
Correct.
Like same thing to the Gullwing. We did the minimum that was to be done, and then now that people want it, we have to do another run, and then we are doing uh, again a difference because we can't do the same thing again. So back to the aces, we are trying to get more people to understand this thing, but of course, probably you will need to see it in person to make your decision. But of course, if you have the faith, you can probably place it with us to do it, because um, another thing that I think was not widely known is that people are waiting for the Maverick. They're all asking us to say, "Where's the Maverick? Where's the Maverick?" The Maverick is not happening because of the cease and desist from Paramount, right? And people who are, I mean, the Maverick is a little bit more different to the other characters that we make third party of, because of the fact that it is sort of a resemblance to a living person versus the Marshal, which is obviously
An animated
cartoon
character.
animation,
Exactly.
Yeah.
and 80s Commanders, that's cartoon animation. The Maverick happens to look like a living person who doesn't want his likeness to be replicated. And I think maybe a certain individual, a certain professor is watching this live stream would stand on that ground resolutely, that we must not replicate the likeness of somebody that does not want his likeness replicated. We have to stand firm, right? We cannot do something that somebody does not want us to do. But that's his opinion, right? That's his
Yeah.
opinion. But you guys want it, right? You guys want this particular image of this person, so we are doing it because the people want it. We're doing it because there's a demand, and we're going to be supplying it. That's the end of the day.
Nice.
Whether or not this person could be like filming, oh, why are you still making me when I don't want you to make me? Well, send me a message. We'll talk about it, right? I'm not issuing a challenge. I'm saying that if we can talk about it, then we can resolve something, right? Or could it be a case of there's no talk? Simple as that. I don't want my likeness replicated. Period. Okay, right? So if we can get the real sense of it, then we can also exercise it. But at the same time, we are playing around in this gray area, right? It's a gray area, and we also have our legal teams that we can fight if we want. But of course, if you talk about dollar to dollar, we're going to lose at the end. It's just like playing a game of risk. If you have a little territory and you have that little funds, and the other guy has a whole continent and he has all the troops, you'll throw the dice, and at the end of the day, just by the law of large numbers and by the whole thing of it, you just lose, because that's what it is, right? You can't.
Yeah.
Even Bruce Lee cannot fight everybody, even though he can beat everybody's ass one-on-one, right? If everybody gang on him, he's gonna fall.
Right.
So
Correct.
that is
Drink
just
your
the
numbers.
logic and the
Drink
way
your
things work. But I digress. So getting back to this, everybody's asking about the Maverick. The Maverick was made available as a head and a helmet during PowerCon, and I think most people actually don't know about that still, and they're still waiting. So let's do it this way, right? We're gonna extend this offer as of right now. Whoever is gonna get the tree set, right? There's gonna be an option for, over here you can see, you can get the bundle of three, right? All three
Yeah.
aces. If you click on that, right? If you click on that and pre-order, right, which is at 149, okay, you will get the head and helmet. And for those people who actually purchase the set after PowerCon, by right, you are not getting the head and helmet, because we're trying to be very, again, we're trying to play by the rules as well, right? So we try to offer the head and helmet of the thing that cannot be offered during the period of PowerCon, so that at least, we give people a chance to get it. We try to fulfill, we try to be, we try to do it right. Even the people, the professors that is adamant that this cannot be done, we are doing it. Okay, so for those that actually did not qualify for this after PowerCon, you will still get your head and helmet. That's a pledge to us. So whoever actually, the moment anybody bought this from PowerCon until now, I'm going to say it, you will get the head and helmet until the early bird ends. So once the early bird ends, that's when we cut off giving away the head and helmet that will come with the set. So that's what I'm
There,
going to say on this live stream, and I'll follow up.
there you have, guys. There you have, guys.
That's awesome. Awesome news. So if you want said
Right
said
there.
character, then you know what you got to do. So we have a couple of questions that came up. This one's interesting. The G suit from Pablo Gonzalez. Will the G suit use a material similar to the gi on the Jada Toys Ryu figure?
I believe it's similar but not the same. So
Mhm.
I would say that mine is more similar to the Bandai Ultraman. That those of you that owns Ultraman, you will see that at his underwear area, it's a very soft material. So that's what we're going to be using. In any case, it's going to be a quality material. It's going to be soft. It's going to be good. And then the moment we have the actual production samples, I'll be sending it out to people like you guys to validate it for yourself. And then we'll go from there. Yeah.
Yeah, because you know who's using that type of material is like McFarlane. I have the Doomsday, and the actual, this part right here is really really so soft that it can bend, like, and there's no problem like with that type of material. Like, and I really like this material because it's a little bit softer than the one
Can I get a screen on me? Let me just show this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this Ultraman from Bandai.
Yeah.
All right, his everything is solid except his pants here.
He's fundy.
Yeah.
Right, his pants here is you can see it's a thinner material. I'm not sure you can see it. It's a thinner material.
Yes. It's really thin.
Right, it's thin and soft, and it's that's the way we're going to be doing it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty similar. So there you have
a
Pablo.
couple other questions here. Well, this one was interesting from Brick something. It says, Ace, there's all sorts of new indie toy makers. For example, AWOC, Savage Crucible. Most of them aren't ready to do playsets, dios. Have you considered approaching a new figure company to do sets with them?
Well, I think Brick, it's a lot on my plate now, and I think I don't want to extend myself to be, suggesting all this kind of stuff. I believe at PowerCon, one particular diorama scene was sought after by many collectors, and I was like asked, could I do that? But I thought to myself, if the indie maker has presented this particular diorama, I think it's well within that indie maker's realms to make that diorama themselves. So I'm not going to like try to be too smart, right? And try to say, oh,
Got it.
let me do it, or or propose to them, why don't you let me do it? Because I have already a lot of stuff that I have planned for ramen, and
Right.
the last thing I want to do is to try to step into an indie maker's, uh, you know, to do
Correct.
something. Although some will say, oh, wait a minute, then why are you doing other people's IP if you're not saying that you don't want to do the indie maker's IP? You are contradicting yourself. No, I'm not, because the indie maker is starting up and they're doing all these things, while I'm doing a season stuff from the 80s. It's two different things.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go.
Perfect.
That makes a lot of sense.
Now that you're talking about this Argentinian sculptor that you have, I
Yeah.
believe it's the same one you use for the two figures you have in gray at PowerCon, correct?
Yes, Carlos, absolutely correct. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I have. I mean, I'm a huge Masters of the Universe fan. I'm a Motu fan since forever, and I know there's a bunch of. I mean, actually, back in the days, I remember the vintage figures. Some of them were made in Argentina, like Argentinians, like they're like really really big fans of Motu, and I know like there's a bunch of people there that I mean love this line. Um, I saw the design, like in that design, you give them certain guides on the product, or you told them like, listen, do whatever you want, use your imagination and freedom.
Yeah. So this is where I think uh, I would answer it and try to correlate it to the current IP holders, myself, and the artist. So I am an entity. Ramen Toy is an entity that can be considered the artistic entity, right?
Mhm.
And the Mattels, the Hasbros, and the Paramounts, and whatever the license holder, the IP holders, will need to engage these artistic people to work hand in hand to formulate the final product. Even Michael Bay, when he make Transformers, he needs to work with artists to come up with concepts that he chooses. Michael
Correct.
Bay does not draw the Transformers himself. Kevin Feige does not draw the Marvel characters himself. He relies on artists that comes up with the concept for him to choose what kinds of costume would his version of the
Correct.
characters don, right? So there you have the correlation. Again, if the director or the person involved has total control and want to change this and change that, yes, and he does, right? So ultimately, what you see on screen is the final product. If the fans like what they see, then the director has done a good job to sell, or rather make the particular genre relatable to the people that will support the genre. Same
Correct.
thing for a radical change of Patterson's Batman, the suit and everything. Some love it, some hate it, right? So, but if you can achieve something like the 89, where everybody loves it, then that means the direction of Tim Burton was correct for people, the fans of Batman.
Right.
Now,
Transcends
before I
time.
digress, what I'm just trying to say is that I tend to want to let the people who are fans of the genre do their thing. So I allowed all my artists like Luke and Julian to make the characters in their own vision, because they are fans
Okay.
themselves. When
Okay.
Luke does the sculpts of the Marshall and 30, it is in his vision. When Julian does the sculpts of the 80s commanders and the two prototypes on show,
Yes.
basically He-Man and Skeletor, I'm not afraid to say it, Even though we got a cease and desist, no problem, right? It is in his vision.
I saw the letter.
Yeah, so it
That's
is
it,
in his vision. But I do give certain guidelines. For example, I believe the crystal on Skeletor's X was my idea to say
Oh,
let's
that
incorporate the
well,
crystal there.
that was a
And
great
then I
idea.
gave
Let me tell
some
you.
directions about using whose face as a reference to make the figure. So these are my input in terms of the director to come up with the final product. So me and the artist working in tandem, right, delivers the final product that the fans love. So we're hoping that the property holders can see that and let the fan of like Ramen Toy, the fan, to be able to make products that the fans will like. And this is the correlation that must be seen versus professors saying that, oh, copyright, IP, you got to listen to the words. Rules are written by men. Rules can be changed by men.
right.
Rules are always constantly changing by men to fit the current climate. And that is what must be absorbed and understood so that we can all progress in this
Correct.
time. We must not be stuck in an era where, okay, IP, anything that is copied, nope, cannot, no, no. I'm not all for that. I'm all for, as long as you are not defacing the copyright property, you are not drawing. For example, you saw those knockoffs, right? They made the Ninja Turtle not look like a Ninja Turtle. They make the minions not look like the minions. So
Right.
that is obviously defacing a great property, and that is a no-no. But when you are
Yeah.
actually making the property elevate to a level that the fans love, there's the support for it. Why do you want to suppress it? That is, in my opinion, negativity. That is a part of cancel culture. That is just silly.
Yeah, totally
We
agree
have
with
some
you, man.
questions, right?
Yeah. No, I think the only main question was about the gull wing. So, will the Great White have the comic and same style packaging as the original gull wing?
Yes and yes, but we won't show it. We will not show
Oh,
it. Just trust. Just trust in the Aces auction. Yeah.
there you go. So yeah, no, it's awesome. I love the fact that everything you're saying makes so much sense. And I think if we could all kind of work more on compromises versus just cease and
Yes.
desist and throw
Compromise is the word.
attorneys
Yeah.
at people, there would be a lot more collectors. There would be a lot more revenue because there would be a lot more things being produced for different IPs. And
More exposure.
more exposure, absolutely. And one of the things that's great about right now is that we're in an era right now where you don't have to have media out there to create product. Perfect example: Savage Crucible, um, Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, Four Horsemen, Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, all that stuff. It's all in-house IPs that don't really have any media or any films or anything out there, and people are buying the crap out of it because it's something different, it's something new. And quite personally, I feel like Hollywood is suffering from that, suffering in the
Yeah.
sense of lack of creativity. Everything they're doing is a remake of this, a remake of that, a prequel of this.
Yeah, they're
And
recycling.
yeah, and it's getting to a point where you're like, wow, there's nothing original. Like nobody can write something original. Something has to always be based on this, or be a reboot of that. It's just kind of like a regurgitation of just information that people had just already seen. Perfect example is, for example, Back to the Future, and I'm super glad that nothing's happening. But I wouldn't be surprised if next year you hear that they're doing a reboot of Back to the Future.
Okay.
Like that's a staple in pop culture. You can't replace Michael J. Fox. You can't replace Christopher Lloyd. You know,
Yeah.
um, so it's things like that. That just make it boring. But with toys and collectibles, it's a whole world, and it really just expands. Um, the possibilities for display, for growing people's collections, and things like this, like the Aces of Aviation. I'm waiting and I'm hoping if this does good. Are there any plans for an expansion? Any idea? Any plans to do Goose maybe?
Um, let's just say we will endeavor to keep our dreams alive. And I just want to touch on Brick something's a comment about, they've already said playsets are not something they're doing anytime soon. Now, if that's the case, and if the playsets are really sought after, then let me know which playset, and then maybe let me know the link to at least introduce me to the people over
Mhm.
there, and I can go and talk to them to say, hey, there is actually a demand for this, and you have already mentioned that you are not doing it. So how about if I do it? Would there be any problem? See?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that
Yeah.
there was like a tiki hut slash
Yeah. Because the
tree
last
hut.
thing I want is to have the wrong impression that I'm just this guy trying to just poke his nose in and do stuff when there's no people asking you to do it,
Yeah,
or I'm trying to show off that I can do stuff. No, no, no. I'm doing stuff that I like first and foremost. And again, I'm seeing stuff online that if people want it and they can't get it because maybe it's too expensive, let's see if that is something that is not exactly uh, uh, out of my reach to do, and I'll
Yeah.
endeavor to do it and do it better, right? I don't do it verbatim, right, to what is being offered. I try to do it different and better. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I mean, one of the things, like for example, me, uh, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if this, like you said, like it's gonna kind of like erupt in that aspect with other like small companies or something like that, because we're talking about Savage Crucible, we're talking about Mythic Legions, we're talking about Masters of the Universe and everything like that. And like, at least for me, for toy photography, like Emerald Knights and all my photographer friends, um one of the things that we're lack in that aspect, on the display aspect and photography and all those stuff, especially, even, I collect Mondo figures. Like, I would love to have, like, at least kind of like a wall of a castle or something, like a dial of a castle. And I don't think that's gonna kind of like you said, like go against the small companies where they're making like type of like knights and stuff like that. But I mean, a diorama of a castle, I mean, I bet everybody in the toy community will want something like that, at least for Doctor Doom. He has a castle, so many other figures that you can use and display in that type of environment. I mean, because everybody makes like buildings and stuff like that, but like castles, I don't see it that often.
Yeah. Was there a question for me?
Yeah, I think Carlos is saying, would you be interested in doing some sort
Oh
of
yeah, I mean,
castle
I was trying to
diorama?
actually look into my computer to pull up something that I had
Oh,
Let's
that I
see.
had a concept of. But obviously I had second thoughts because of certain stuff that took place.
Okay.
But why don't you guys keep talking first, and I will just see if I can pull this up.
yeah.
I
So
think
just
put it
want to
on
give a
the
shout
Actually,
out to
Dwayne is
a couple
asking.
of people that just joined us: Holland Toy Flicks, Dwayne Otley, and Articulated Times. We got Steve in the house. All right. So, quick question: Dwayne Otley was asking, will you make a Marshall playset? I guess a diorama.
Currently, no plans for that. Working on the figures first.
Okay,
Let me try to pull up.
I think my friend Pablo was asking. Oh, Articulated Times. That's Steven, right? What he
Yeah.
said.
It's a castle and medieval theme designs are in demand. And it's true. I mean, we have a lot of, you don't have to say IP, but like a lot of toy lines that could
Mm-hmm.
really
Give me a second.
benefit from a castle diorama. It doesn't have to be just Motu. It could be Mythic Legions. It could be Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. It could be, like the Conan. that Mezco released recently. Plus, we got the Frazetta figure coming out of Dark Wolf. There's so many awesome collectibles out there that really need that environment for display. And, I think it would be a really great idea.
Marvel Legends, Doctor Doom,
Yeah,
Thor,
Latveria.
Thor. You can put like a lot of figures in those like castle dioramas.
Yeah, I agree.
I know Ace is cooking something.
Yeah, yeah. He's
cooking
looking
up
for
something.
something. He's looking for something.
Yeah, you guys. Yeah, I'll just. Yeah, let me see if I can get.
Just go ahead. Go ahead. Don't worry.
I got so much photos and so much data. I got.
This is your time, my friend. Don't worry about it. You're in your house.
Oh, perfect one. Pablo Gonzalez, Castlevania would be.
Wow. Okay.
Ace, let me ask you about. Are you interested at all in that IP? Because NECA did some really cool figures.
Isn't Castlevania
Konami?
Konami?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was in talks with them, and they were saying, "Why don't you choose something else?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know about Castlevania." So
yeah, Castlevania is, for us people that grew up in the '80s, Castlevania was like a very iconic video game, and there's not a lot out there. That you got Gaming Heads, which has done some really awesome quarter scale statues, but there's really in the sense of figures, only NECA did a very limited line. They did Simon Belmont, they did Dracula, and they did a Succubus. But I think that a really
That's
awesome
it, right?
toy line, yeah, a really awesome toy line based on that Nintendo video game would really turn some heads.
Well, people were like my friend Jason he was asking me, the one that I put on the FaceTime with you on PowerCon. He was asking me like about like when they're seeing all these lines like the Martian and all those stuff. He was like, "Oh, what about Hanna-Barbera characters like the Herculoids, like Mythor, like what else we have?
Black Star,
Thondar, the Barbarian. Oh my God, dude! Black
I
Star.
would love to see a Ramen Toys Ukla.
Oh my God!
Because they made one, Toynami made one like in the late 2000s, and it was cool, but it was very, very limited in articulation. And it was basically like I had them in my collection for the longest, but it got to a point where the joints were just like swinging by themselves. It was
Steven is asking something. What he said?
Steven is saying even if the whole castle is impossible, maybe sections of the castle released over time. Yeah, like the modular, like the Musk.
Yeah.
Steven, you just joined us, but we were talking about the Musk, which is the modular sewer layer diorama that Ace is working on. So yeah, they could definitely do stuff like that with a castle environment. It's all about the interest, right, Ace? It's like if people really show the interest and
Oh yeah, totally.
you see the numbers.
okay, I found what I was looking for. I'm going to
Okay,
share
awesome.
my screen. Hold on. I'm going to share the screen here. So this was an idea that I had back in around January of this year, right? January of this year. So if you can just put that up, there we go.
Oh.
So before Mattel announced the Origins Snake Mountain,
Jeez.
my idea was to build on my most powerful stand and create sections of stands that you can build up into a sort of a okay. So this castle is not going to be it's not going to be like there's no backside. Okay,
Right.
this is going to be if you allow me, right? Imagine this whole thing and you cut it in half.
It's just
and the
a
back
facade.
is flush.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you push it against your wall. You push it against your wall on your display
Wow.
shelf, right? So that there's no, it's not a play set, it's a stand. It's
Okay.
a diorama, all right? And the way you buy it is that you will buy it sections at a time. For example, this here would be a section, right? I'm just putting the Origins figure for a size comparison of how this thing will build up. So the idea is that if you imagine this section here with the head here and the what you call it, the
The
bridge
bridge.
is going to be a section, right? This whole part here is a section, right? So every
Okay.
part is a section, and then for example, this head here is going to be half. There's no back side. On the side view, you will see him halved, and then you will just see it a sort of a 3D relief of this face, and
Right.
then up to here. So because you can't really put figures on here and here, so these are more like 2D relief, like 3D relief, if I'm getting the terms right. So the whole idea is that this whole thing is going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections. 6 sections, like a stand, like our most powerful stand, like the sewer stand that I did is like ABS injected stands.
Right.
And like I said, if you put it by itself, it's gonna work also. So imagine this section here on the left, just like that, just like that. You don't look at the rest, just like that. It's gonna work by itself, just
Wow.
like that,
Wow.
right? It's gonna work by itself,
Wow.
right?
My
As a stand.
brother Charlie, who is in
Yeah,
charge of the Origins group
yeah.
on Facebook, will
So
be.
this was my idea back in early 2023. So I scrapped this because uh, let's stop sharing. Yeah, I
Envelope 9.
scrapped this because they announced the
Envelope 9
Snake
is like,
Mountain. So
whoa.
So let me ask you, for example, that cavern entrance, that would be something that would have depth to it, right? So you could actually kind of go
yeah,
into the cavern. Of course, it'll be flat on the back, but everything that's in the front will be three
yeah,
dimensional.
yeah, correct. So this is in response to your questions there about will I make a Motu style thing? And I mean, yeah, the idea is there. I just need
Display.
to evolve it and act accordingly. And then yeah, maybe there could be a insight of Grayskull that is not available to many, and a proper dungeon this time, not just a sticker, you know,
Right. Yeah.
whatever that is that the collectors would want, of course. And then there will be a cease and desist from Mattel because this is obviously a Castle Grayskull. You can't do that. Yeah, so there you go.
So
The
let me
same old
ask,
story.
I know that
I
you
mean,
found,
even you can do that in like different options for people. For example, some people will like Castle Grayskull. Oh, that's my dog right there. Some people will like Castle Grayskull. Some people will like the King Arthur castle, or like different
Yeah.
color, like gray, green.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
options for different colors, for reuse of the molds and stuff like that. And I have to ask, because I'm a huge Thundercats fan, Ace. Any interest in the Thundercats IP at all, in the sense of
Okay,
like,
before I answer that question, let me just go back and say that for those eagle-eyed and say, oh, that Snake Mountain is somebody else's artwork, I'm just using it as a placeholder, right?
right?
I'm not copying that design. I'm just using it as a placeholder to
Yeah,
illustrate to my
it's a mock-up. Yeah,
guys what the idea is. Okay,
got
so
it.
before anybody,
Exactly.
oh, wait a minute, the guy just ripped off Mr. So-and-so's artwork. Okay,
Yeah,
so no, I'm just using it as a placeholder to tell my guys what I want to do. So back to
troll
your
alert.
question, Thundercats, it's well and truly uh, developed by Super 7 now. I think it's also a great job that they have done. There could be some concerns from fans about the hits, right? We could probably look into that, but I don't want to be, again, I'm not here to poke my nose in. I'm not here to shove my shoulder into you as you're walking to say I'm the guy. No, I'm just here to do if there's a demand for something, and also doing what I love. So Thundercats is not among the top love of mine. Uh, but again, I Luke himself has great Thundercat sculpts because he's a big fan, and I was just waiting for the correct time to introduce that to the domain because a certain Tigra was not done properly,
Oh yeah,
and he has a great Tigra, right? Luke has a
Yeah.
great Tigra. Again, I don't want to. It's all about timing. It's all about, imagine if we were in a position now with the proper license. If we were able to talk to Hasbro and Hasbro agreed that okay, what Machina is doing is great. Let's give them a mass license. and let's do it. And then Mattel said, okay, this is good, but you can't really do 12-inch, or you can't really do 6-inch because it's going to compete with our Masterverse. And then I have a solution, right? Let me do it in 3 3/4, right? Because I have an idea to make a whole environment in 3 3/4. Everything is smaller. You can display it actually versus trying to get a new house to display everything. So imagine if we were in that position, and then we talk about Thundercats, then it doesn't seem so obtrusive. Because if you think about it, people will say, "Oh, wait a minute, Super 7 is doing Thundercats, so you shouldn't be doing Thundercats." No, why?
But you know what's funny about that, Ains? I want to interrupt.
Look at Turtles.
Yeah, that's the
Turtles is
thing.
being done by Super
Everybody and their
7,
mother is doing
Playmate,
turtle product.
Deca, so many people. So if they can Hello Kitty Turtles, why not something else for it's always like
weird because
one rule for this, another for another
it's
guy.
weird because for example, you see with Motu, Mattel has been like licensing out, so they'll have like Motu Pops. Mondo is doing Motu. What were the other people? Loyal Subject did Motu figurines. So,
Reaction.
Right. So there should be, more range for creativity and working with other companies. The fact that Super 7 is doing what they're doing, and in my opinion, they're doing great stuff, but it's not quite the kind of stuff that we want in the sense of articulation and paint. I think that's where they're lacking a lot. The Cat Slayer is phenomenal. I don't think it could be done better. I don't know. You could probably figure out a way to do it better.
No. It's a once in a lifetime thing. Let's just it's too much.
But my thing is, when I'm talking about the figures, like you mentioned, Tigra, a lot of these figures for me and Carlos also, we're like big fans of articulation. So when we want to get our figures, we want to pose them, especially if you're paying $55, sometimes $75 for the premium ones, and then you open them and they look real nice and everything, but other than a vanilla pose, you can't really do much with the bodies. So I feel there needs to be another contender that steps into the arena and says, you know what, hold my beer, let me show you how articulation's done on these figures. And like I said, I love Thundercats. I love the fact that Super 7 has taken so much ownership of that property, but I feel they need to see someone else's rendition to say like, I think I could improve my stuff a little bit. You know what I mean? Give them that little shove. And not to say anything, but like you did it with the Dolph Lundgren head. You do little things here and there where it's not necessarily a toy line. So I think a lot of fans could benefit from things like alternate head sculpts from you and things like that. And Thundercats community is huge, man. I mean, my page, and it's mostly international, a lot of people international. And I think if we saw something else in the arena, that would really, really get people excited and people's wallets opening. I'm telling you.
It's not just about the articulation, just the articulation, but the skill. Like, if we're talking about Masters of the Universe, and that's one of the topics that I always discuss with one of my best buddies, Jason, is the skill Mattel always used for their action figures. Name it, McFarlane, DC Classics, Masterverse, all of them, Moto Classics, all of them were 7-inch. But what if you make 6-inch that fits with Marvel Legends, that fits with Mezco, that fits with G.I. Joe Classified? You can make a Masters of the Universe figure, a He-Man figure that scaled perfectly with those lines. You're not going to interfere with the Masterverse because Masterverse fits with NECA, Super 7, and all those lines that are a bigger scale. So there you go. I don't see the problem, especially for me as a Masters collector, having a He-Man figure, a Skeletor He-Man that fits with my Marvel Legends. That will be a dream come true with that articulation, with that detail that you have on those figures. Because I'm gonna call it by the name, because I'm not paying for any of those companies. The best He-Man and Skeletor I ever seen in that scale were the ones I saw on PowerCon. And
Yep.
Jorge can tell
That
you,
means so much.
I
Yeah.
told him the most
They look
impressive
amazing.
thing for me in PowerCon was those two figures, period. That's it.
Yeah, thank you so much. That means so much. That means the mission accomplished. You share the vision, and we've done our part. Yeah.
So there you go. We need them. We need them.
So here's what we need. We need to get these Aces of Aviation produced.
Yeah.
So Ace, why don't you share the link in the comments so everybody can go and order their Aces of
Yeah,
Aviation
that's a
3-pack with exclusive cease and desist head.
Maybe I'll send you the link on the private chat. You can just drop it in. I can't really comment.
Okay.
I don't think I
Yeah,
can.
cool.
You know what? I have a question from my friend Pablo. I think he forgot to ask you this and the comments, but he was telling me about 3-0. He was asking me if, I mean, I saw the figure in person, but he was asking if 3-0 transformed.
No.
Okay. He's not that big.
Yeah.
When can we get the villain, man? I think the villain is so cool.
Well, I believe by PowerCon next year we will see something. That is the plan. If nothing goes wrong, so
everything is gonna go perfectly.
So Desref fan is asking any status updates on Silverhawk. I think you're done with that property, right?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this a few times, maybe not to what Des Refan has heard, but we don't have the Silverhawks license. Yeah, so that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So no, definitely. I mean, it's really cool, man, to talk to you. I think, I can only imagine the stuff that you probably are not talking about because there's so much on your plate. As far as IPs, like I said, Thundercats. I know it's not a big one for you, but there's a lot of fans that would love to see someone else's vision of these figures. And I'm not talking about reimagining them. I'm talking about articulation.
Yes.
I'm surprised that SH Figure Arts or like Mafex haven't tried to make Thundercats. That type of level of articulation. Just an example. This kind of thing here. This single joint. This is so late 90s, 2000s. You know what I mean? We need more articulation. These exposed joints, hiding joints is not where it's at. It's hiding them is okay, but you got to add more versatility to get those human reflex movements, to be able to reenact those scenes and stuff. So I think
well, you guys interview Super 7, right? You can ask them, right? To improve.
I mean, I've
I don't
talked
know.
to Brian. I've spoken to them. I've given him suggestions about articulation.
Right.
I don't know if they're going to do anything with it, but
Okay.
I keep seeing the same standard,
I see. Okay.
Ultimates type of bodies just being made. So some figures are better than others. Some move better than others. But at the end of the day, having double elbows, double knees, it makes a world of difference.
Right.
And the sculpt, of course, the paint, the quality, and that applies to all IPs. Motu, Thundercats, all 80s properties. The Marshall, that's an amazing looking figure. I remember I owned that when I was small, and it's really cool to see that come back without any media or anything out there. So that's what's so exciting about you guys and what you're doing, is that you're doing all sorts of little projects of things that people could never dream.
People want.
Yeah, people want.
People want.
And the big guys don't want to do them for whatever reason, So it's great, man. So Ace, thank you so much for sitting with us today. I know you're just starting your day, but it's been awesome talking to you. I'm sure the fans appreciate all the responses, and we look forward to all your updates. Guys, you could follow Ace. Definitely go to Ramen Toys on Facebook, and he's really good about updating with videos, photos, and it's constantly a lot of content there. So if you're thinking about your IP or whatever figures you're planning on buying, all the information's there. Pictures, prototypes, test shots, you name it. Ace is all over it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jorge and Carlos, for having me on the show.
No problem, man. Thanks a lot, and take care, buddy. Have a good night, man.
All right, good night. Bye bye.
All right. Have a good night, guys.